What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of having a former IFS champion. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. He is the one and only Jesse Velazquez. Jesse, how you doing, my man?
Good. How are you, Adam? How's everyone else doing? Yeah,
Good,
man.
good. And
Everyone
actually,
good.
we're already getting comments because Everett Richard Osmer, shout out to Everett. He's all like, "Oh, tough question time." So bring it, my
you
man.
he
But
told me he was gonna bring some tough questions for me.
absolutely. But dude, how are you?
I'm good, man. Just surviving the freaking quarantine and all that. I've been blessed enough to be keep working throughout this whole time. I work in workers' comp, actually for LA County Sheriff, actually. So I've been working this whole time, and like we've been having more work actually, if anything, because the Corona cases, and then with all the riots that were happening for a while. I got some wild ones for a minute, but lately I've been getting just like mostly actually like Corona workers' comp claims. Most of them weren't like super bad, but it's still happening. So it's just like I'm more busy with work than I ever have right now. To tell the truth, it kind of sucks.
Wow. No, it's crazy, right? Because I guess you getting the call before for Corona was a completely different thing than it is now, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. People are all super scared right now. Like even at my job, it's like no one's even there anymore. Like I'm like someone that only we only have like 4 or 5 people actually in the office, so it's just like it's crazy.
Yeah, but again, like a claim for somebody on Corona was a lot different, even November last year than it is today, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a way bigger deal than it is than it was just a few months ago. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, but more power to you for like being able to to get that shit in. But
Yeah.
holy hell, man! Like I almost feel like you and your brother are part of Southern California Jiu-Jitsu history because we had Anthony Aguilera on not too long ago, and him seeing you and your brother fucking whatever, and then you guys rose up through the ranks together, and it's just like, man, like you've been there for a while, right? Does
Oh,
it
I've
feel
been.
like it?
It feels like I feel like I'm getting kind of old now. To tell the truth, man. I started when I was 13. I'm 25 now. Like, man, I've been doing it forever. I've done pretty much every jiu-jitsu tournament. If you compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament in Southern California, you probably win against me once if you're a smaller guy. When it gets like almost every pro fighter that did jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? It's just crazy how long, how many people I've gone against and all the people I've met through jiu-jitsu and stuff. And just like, man, it's just crazy. It's just been so long. You know what I mean? I used to be like just the youngest kid in a jiu-jitsu class, and now people look up to me to run class. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah,
It's just like I was that kid, but now I'm teaching them. So it's just like I even teach adults sometimes, people who are older than me. So it's just like, oh man, it's just really cool, man. Like I think it's really cool.
absolutely. Now, Pius Lobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus, one half of Voodoo in the
So
Woods, that you can see on Facebook. But he says, "What up, Jesse?"
hey, what's up? Love you guys' little show about all the fights. I like you guys how you guys break it down too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Just working, and that's the thing, like right now, especially, man, fucking last night that was rough. Like Chadwick Boseman passing away, you
Yeah, that
know.
was crazy.
Yeah, and I really didn't like. I'm not like a Marvel guy or a comic guy. Like my thing has always been like either pro wrestling or any sort of combat sport, right? So, but I fucking took it like I took a knee, pardon the pun, because I was just like, fuck, when you think about he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer
Shit.
4 years ago, right? Stage 3, right? And he's looking at the trajectory of his life, and he had essentially made he developed the fact that he wanted to be an actor, and extra work here and supporting role here and whatever, and then he finally gets the biggest run of his career, and his life is could essentially be ended at any given moment. And what does he do? He, like, rather than turn and fucking go the other way and just be like, I'm gonna chill with my family, blah blah blah. No, he goes on the most successful run out of his career. He did the Captain America movie. He did the
Yeah.
fucking Black Panther. He did Thurgood Marshall. Like, and I was one who, you know, I was one who kind of was like, man, aren't there any other actors, right? Like, how can the same dude play Thurgood Marshall, James Brown, and Jackie Robinson? Like, come on, like, give us something more, right? But then the fact of it, like the fact that one man could breathe life into some already interesting stories, and that was the person who these directors and casting agents wanted to fill the role. That's a tremendous honor. And then even after like playing those iconic roles, he ended up going like doing the Black Panther, and he was as somebody that didn't grow up with a lot of action figures that look like him, right? He ended up having an action figure and kids, dressing like him in Halloween and all that stuff, and he saw all that happen during the time there. His life was literally being taken from him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some actors or even like people just in any career kind of transcend their own like career like he did. You know what I mean? And like, I only knew him from Black Panther, but like, man, he just seemed like a really smart, intelligent person. And like, I had no idea that he even had cancer. I actually heard about that, the day that he died. And it did, tell the truth, it didn't look like it slowed him down at all. Tell the truth, he just took it like a champ and just did everything he could. Like it's just crazy, like how sometimes just people pass away out of nowhere. It's just like, man, it's kind of almost hard to believe sometimes. It's like, oh my God, no way. But yeah, like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Stephen Tatum says, "R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. You will be missed but not forgotten."
For sure.
Absolutely. Shout out to Steve. No, but it resonated with me because like, here we are in kind of time of quarantine, and the job that I was doing, basically got taken from me, and I rather than sit back and kind of watch everything happen, I was like, okay, I've got a studio. I figured out, because a couple of my friends had me on a couple of their podcasts, and they were using this very, site and everything. And I was like, you know what? Let me try it myself. And over the last month and a half, I've been, I think I did close to 70, 80 podcasts or something like that. And it's not that. It's the kind of mindset. Like Joey Diaz talks about, you got to prove your worth to the universe every fucking day, right? And if you say you want to do something in particular, you have to do that. You have to, it's not like, oh, it was good this day and whatever. I mean, you're a jiu-jitsu purple belt, right? And you go to an open mat with some blue belts and get spanked, and then
sure.
or going to brown and black and you get spanked, right? But it's rising to that challenge and being able to fall in love with the process and learn some new skills and hopefully be better, coming out of whatever situation that you're in than you were when you went in.
Oh, for sure. It's just like, it's all about the grind. You know what I mean? Like that's something I've always liked about wrestling too. You know what I mean? It's just like some people are just really, I even talked about the other day, some people are just really scared of failure and they just don't want to try it because they're scared to fail. But sometimes you got to just go out there and just say fuck it and go for it. You know what I mean? Like shit, I've been doing it for a long time. I failed more times than most people have even tried. And there's been plenty of times where I thought about quitting, but I just stayed strong and kept with it. And, I've won a lot of, big things, but I've lost a lot of big things too. But you know what I mean? Just the fact that I'm going out there, I learn from it every. Sometimes it's just crazy how like scared people are just to try it. You know what I mean? Or because it's so stressful, but like you'll come out better from it. You know what I mean? Like shit, even when I won the IFS title, I was coming off like 2 or 3 losses in a row before I even had that fight, and those losses helped me win that fight. You know what I mean? So it was just like my failures ended up, teaching me enough to, get my biggest victory after that. So I just feel like people are just sometimes a little too scared to fail. It's just like, sometimes you guys got to go for it. Like for real, like I've lost so much more than I've won. It's like almost double. You know what I mean? I've had almost 350 jiu-jitsu matches. I've lost the majority of them. You know what I mean? And my MMA record's 3-4. I've lost most of my MMA fights. You know what I mean? Like it's like, but look at the competition I'm facing. I'm not facing no like weenies or anything. I'm fighting the best I can. And even in jiu-jitsu, like some of the guys I've competed against jiu-jitsu ended up fighting on TV, Bellator and like UFC and shit. So it's just like, I know the competition I'm going against is tough. I just got to keep, staying strong and not letting the process get to me.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times, you will learn more, whether that be fight or otherwise, just in life, right? Where you will learn more from a loss than you do, from a win. Because I mean, a lot of times, especially with your, ego is a very fucking fine thing, right? And if you win, you'll be like, oh, you get to feed the ego a little bit more, and you know, and then when you lose, it's something that, I mean, again, it could be a loss of promotion, a loss of a romantic relationship, or whatever the loss is, right? I mean, if it really resonates with you and like registers with you, I mean, that is something that you will be fucking agonizing over. Like, it'll wake you up. It'll be your worst nightmare, your fucking craziest whatever, right? But you'll not do that again. If you're going to learn from something, it's almost like, well, if I'm going to learn from it, I'm not going to do the exact same thing again, because I knew where it got me the first time. Or hell, maybe I do the exact same thing and it works out better in this situation than it did in the one before. And it's this kind of constant ebb and flow of, your life's journey that you can take from a loss.
Oh, for sure. And it's just like, you just got to learn from it. Like, if you just get like, I don't know how else to say it, like all butthurt about it, and then just like, let it get to you, then it's going to be hard. I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't done that, because there's been a few times where I was just like, man, this really bothered me. But eventually I'll get over it and learn from it. You know what I mean? Like just sometimes you just got to like man up. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you know what I mean? And like, I just feel like ego is just like the weakness of just everything. Of just man in general. Like, you just got to let go of it sometimes. Like, and you'd be surprised. Like, I feel like a lot of martial artists have problems with that. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't in the past, but I feel like I've pretty much, destroyed my ego at this point. I'm not gonna lie, but it's always there. But it's like sometimes you gotta just like let it go and just go for it. You know what I mean? Like, don't let your ego get to you, and just man up, basically. I don't know how else to say it. But yeah.
No, but I mean, that's it. That's it. Which, I mean, I gotta mention, like, I mean, how did you start in the wild world of like martial arts? Because obviously everybody's journey is a little bit different, right? So, like, what was it that drew you in, so to speak?
Well, I've always been into martial arts and like and anime and stuff. I'm really into anime. You know what I mean? But at first it was kind of just because I'm actually also part Japanese. I'm Mexican Japanese, so it was kind of just me being interested in my own culture. And then I started watching anime, and I got really into this show called Dragon Ball Z. I know almost everybody knows what that show is. And I wanted to be Son Goku so bad. I started doing like all these traditional martial arts schools. I actually started, technically, I know it's everyone, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, but technically I did start with Taekwondo. I didn't get anywhere in Taekwondo, but and also a big part of me starting martial arts was I used to get bullied a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been kind of like a nice guy, a little timid, and a lot of people, especially when you're a kid, will kind of like mess with you for that. You know what I mean? So it was a mixture of me just being really into like my own culture, and also just like not wanting to get bullied. You know what I mean? I used to get like bullied a lot in elementary school and middle school, and like it just sucked. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it, but like, man, like, yeah, just a lot of it was just bullying. I just didn't like that feeling of being helpless if someone ever attacked me. And I didn't like get beat up every day or anything, but every once in a while I would. I just didn't like it. Like, I want to be able to defend myself. You know what I mean? And like, no martial arts really clicked with me as much as jiu-jitsu though. Exactly. I'm not gonna lie, like Taekwondo and stuff didn't really help out that much when I got bullied. I'm not gonna lie, but jiu-jitsu was the first one that really like clicked for me. I'm not saying Taekwondo doesn't work, but I'm just saying, like, if I didn't know how to use it right. I guess that's the way of saying it. I guess it's just on the person. But jiu-jitsu was what really clicked with me when it came to martial arts.
No, 100%. Now, I mean, obviously, I'd be remiss not saying, but happy belated birthday. And you are
Thank
a
you.
twin, so you and your
Yeah.
brother, Josh. So shout out to you guys, just turning 25, the ripe age of 25. But was it you guys both doing Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah,
or
we
was
we both did it. My brother actually quit jiu-jitsu when he just got his kid belts. He's actually been out of it for a while now, but he did do a few tournaments here and there, and he knew Anthony pretty well actually. But yeah, he actually stopped doing it. I mean, he goes to all my tournaments now, like just to watch and stuff. I've been trying to get him back into it, but yeah, it's not for everyone, I guess. I mean, he was actually really good at it when he did it. Like, tell the truth, I felt like he was a little more little more athletic and talented than I was. I just stayed with it, and he didn't. You know what I mean? So it was just like, it's just how it is, I guess. But hopefully he'll get back into it. I'm gonna try to get him back into it.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you, especially more so, because I mean, I did judo as a kid. Like, I mean, I did probably maybe 6 months of judo when I was like 7, and then didn't do anything, until I was at like Matt Baker's BJJ in my close to 30s, right? I think I was like 27. From 7 to 27, there was a 20-year gap where I did absolutely no martial arts and whatever. So I know how that is. But I think in jiu-jitsu, like like the pull is strong, right? Where like you want people, like, I don't know so many people that are like advocates of like judo, like, oh, you got to do this thing and fucking come with me and do it. But like jujitsu, like once you do it, it's almost like drinking the fucking purple Kool-Aid, and you want everybody to fucking drink the purple Kool-Aid and see stars and whatever, and it's just like it's different, right? So I mean, did that the fact that your brother Josh kind of didn't do it as much, or he just fell out of love with it, like, did it impair your own journey?
No, I just kept going with it. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just keep training. I mean, he was like the perfect training partner for me. He's actually, he's about like 20 pounds lighter than I am, which people find very surprising because I'm pretty skinny myself. But yeah, we used to train together a lot. And then he just, I don't know, man, he just stopped liking it, I guess. But I stayed with it. I had a lot of younger training partners in my school too. And like, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started it, I hated competing. Didn't want to do it. Like, I had to be like forced to do it. Like, I remember a few times I was gonna get promoted to the next belt. My professor was like, hey, if you want that next belt, you're gonna have to compete. And I was like, I don't want to compete though. I hate that shit. And then, like, you know what I mean? It was just so funny, man. And it wasn't until I met this guy. He actually was a camo fighter too. He actually was ranked in the state for a while. I believe he fought for the camo state belt too. His name is Mateo Santos. He came into my gym. I know. You know Mateo Santos? That's my boy, man. I grew up with that guy. He was the guy that really got me into competing. Like, I never wanted to do it. I hated it. And I remember he was there that day when our coach was talking about it. Like, I want you to compete. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And then he would have talked to my mom and dad, and my dad just signed me up. He's like, stop being a pussy about it. You're just going to do it. And I was just like, fuck, I don't want to do it. But he was like my main sparring partner growing up. Like, I grew up with a guy. I have nothing but love for that dude. He started fighting way before I did. He was kind of my motivation to actually start fighting as well. But yeah, he started competing, and it got me to start competing. And me and him were just running the tournaments for a while. We were winning gold like every tournament for a while. Like, we were just like the guy. We were like the kids in the juvenile division, like the 16, 18-year-old division. We just dominate all the tournaments together with them. It was a good time, man. I missed training with that dude. But I believe he's a coach at Unbreakable for Performance now. So he's doing pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, Unbreakable. That's Danny Navarro and all that. Right?
Yeah. No, I think Unbreakable is I can't remember that guy's name. He runs that gym. He's a karate dude. He fights on Bellator.
Oh, yes,
Adele.
yes. I'm thinking about Iron Man. My bad.
Oh, Iron Man's pretty cool too. I fought someone from Iron Man, so I like those guys too, man. They're pretty legit.
Damn right. Oh, go ahead. Huh? You were gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. I know those guys pretty good. I fought one of their guys, Eddie Esquivel from Team Iron Man. He's a tough dude, man. I had to drop to 128 for that one. I dropped from 150 to 128. It was horrible. That weight cut was by far the worst of my life. I remember I was in the sauna with one of my friends, man. I was so dehydrated. I literally stopped sweating in the sauna. My friend had to basically carry me out of the sauna. It was horrible. I thought I was going to die in there. I'm not going to lie. Like, I remember the day before the weigh-in, I was 134, and my body just was like, I'm not going to lose anymore. And I just kept trying to make myself sweat. I was in there like covered in jackets and towels, and it was just crazy. And I actually met Gilbert Nagatani that day. He was fighting the same day on that card. And he was fighting for the title that night. And me and him were just talking the whole time. And he was like talking to me like, yeah, you should probably not try this again, huh? I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing this again. Because it was just like horrible. I mean, I'm not a big guy for 135. I only walk around like 142. But like, yeah, it was just, I guess my body just didn't like it. And it was just, that fight was probably one of the hardest of my life. I ended up winning that fight. But man, just everything leading up to it was just horrible. And that was like, man, that was such a horrible experience. I'm never going to do that again. That's all I know. I just remember that weight cut just being like, I seriously thought I was gonna die. I'm not even joking. Like I got to the point where I was like, I'm not making weight. Like fuck that. I'm just gonna miss weight. I'm not gonna die over it. And then I got to the scale and I ended up being a pound under. And I was just like, oh my god, thank you. Like I'm never doing that again. It was just crazy. It was just crazy. But yeah, man, I have a lot of respect for Team Iron Man now and Eddie, man. That guy's probably one of the toughest dudes I've ever fought. I've never hit someone that hard in my life and have them just keep swinging at me. So I have a lot of respect for that team and Eddie over there.
No, I mean shout out to those guys. But
Yeah.
I mean, holy hell! I mean, that's one thing that most people don't realize that are just watching, right? Like, the real fight is literally at the weight cutting, right? And there's no two ways to skin a cat, right? There are people that walk around in their natural weight class. There are people that cut down from a high weight to low weight, or they'll keep their walking weight 15 pounds between their fighting weight and their walking weight, so it's only a 15-pound cut. There's no two ways about it, and in terms of like sciences, like
Yeah.
we know the effects that it could have on the body long term, like kidney failure and whatever, but like, I mean, did you play sports before where like you had to do the weight cuts and stuff like that?
No, the first time I ever cut weight was when I started wrestling. I used to actually never cut weight for jiu-jitsu tournaments. I used to just go up a weight class or compete with adults. I never cared. I was just like, I'll go against anybody. Like I trust in my jiu-jitsu. And then when I started wrestling, and it was just like wrestling was kind of like you kind of had to drop weight almost. And I was new to wrestling, so it was just like I wasn't like super good at it yet. So I couldn't really, get away with just being more technical than everyone. But yeah, man, I remember the first time I started cutting weight, and I dropped from 45 to 26s. It was pretty bad, but I wasn't as I'm not muscular now, but I didn't have as much muscle as I had before, so it wasn't as bad as it was the last time. But yeah, my first experience with weight cutting was with wrestling, and wrestling is kind of like it's almost kind of like a bragging thing, like, oh, I cut more weight than you, I can make it lower than you, but it's just like, why even do that? I just wish no one would cut weight. I wish everyone was just like, fuck it, we'll all go against people our size and not try to be bigger than everyone. And it was just funny because I always look way bigger than everyone I compete against because I'm tall. I'm like 5'10" at 135. I feel like all these guys are really short, but it's like, I'm actually not that heavy. They're just really short and they're just really bulky. I just always look way bigger than everyone I go against. I've actually never gone against anyone taller than me other than my last fight. Like my whole, like all jiu-jitsu, all taekwondo, everything. Other than my last fight, that was the only time I ever went against someone taller than me, which is crazy. I don't really think I'm that tall, but I guess for like the smaller weight classes I am. But I don't know. Wild.
Well, what a way to test yourself. But
Yeah.
Steven, he says, happy birthday to you and Josh.
Thanks,
Happy
Steven.
belated birthday. So yeah. So in terms of like that fight, right? You knew that you weren't going to do that again, right? That type of weight cap. So what do you think about promotions like One Championship that do hydration tests and all of that? Is that obviously the UFC is the main game in town, right? But I mean, when you're seeing stuff like Bellator, that has better gloves than the UFC, you have One Championship that has hydration tests that you fight closer to your natural weight class, right? So, I mean, are those things that you're looking and then like, wow, the sport is evolving, or like, are those things that you're excited about, or like,
Yeah, I mean,
not so much?
I think hydration test is an extremely smart thing. I know One Championship had some fighter die from weight cutting, and I think that's why they adopted that. I think one of the guys tried to make flyweight and he ended up passing away from the weight cut. I think they all should do that, to tell the truth. And I feel like California and like in the California fighting, they're a little more like, what's the word for it? Like strict about the weight cutting. Like I noticed that I remember hearing about a couple UFC fighters who had to go up a weight class that they had to fight in California because they didn't like the fact that they would jump up like 30 pounds from weigh-ins to the actual fight. And I think it's a good thing, to tell the truth, because it'll keep fighters from, dehydrating. For one thing, the dehydration can kill you by itself. And if you go into the fight, you're all dehydrated, you get knocked out easier. You get hurt easier when you're dehydrated. So it's just like, it's all bad. I mean, you might be a little bit bigger and stronger than the guy, but is the risk really worth the reward? I don't really think so. Like, I don't know why people would drop so much weight to make a weight class. It's like, are you really that scared to fight someone who's your size? Like, why do you got to be bigger than everyone? You know what I mean? Like, I just see it as like, bro, like, can't you just fight someone your size? Why do you got to be like twice the size of the guy? I don't know. I always just thought that was lame. That's why I always loved Frankie Edgar. Because even now, at 135, he still looks smaller than everybody. And he fought at 155. It was like, man, and he still was a champion. Like, he just,
Yeah.
Frankie was just like the hardest dude ever to me. Like, man, that guy's just so hardcore. He just never gave a fuck. I mean, he beat everyone at 55, and he looks like a 25-pounder. So it's just like, it's crazy how, like, that's why I always, Frankie Edgar's like my favorite fighter. And I was really happy that he won against Munoz the other night. But yeah, it was just like, it's just crazy, man. I wish all fighters would just say, like, how about we just stop doing that, you know? Like, we just all just fight someone our size. Like,
Yeah.
but,
Well, I mean, Vito Maximus says weight cutting is a part of the purification process. I mean, that's fair. But, you know, for me, I'm like, you know, if you're like, well, then what is weight classes really, right? Theoretically speaking, because it's just like, you're not, come fight day, you're not the same
you're
way,
not that way.
right?
Yeah, like, there's no
Right.
way.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and it doesn't matter if it's same day weigh-ins or, you know, the day after weigh-ins, you know, the fight happens, you're not at the same weight. So, like, what is, you know, if you're you cut down to 170, right, and you fight and you gain 15 pounds because obviously your 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 body just takes on everything in, right? Like, what the hell is it for? Then why not be a 185 weight class or fight at a 185? Like, it's weird to me, and I think it's one of those things that, you know, carried over from wrestling that never really adapted out. You know, like, I don't think we need it. I mean, I think, you know, there needs to be, when your kidneys are shutting down,
Yeah.
there's no purification. There's, you know, when you're like your brain, you know, you're losing brain cells literally, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, in any kind of combat deal, I mean, the guy that was the spokesperson for OxyClean, right? The same day that Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson died respectively, he was on a plane and he hit his head, and that ended up killing him, right? So
Shit.
if you're already going to go through trauma, you know, whether it be hitting your head, getting punched in the head in sparring or whatever, like, you would think you would want more brain cells
Water,
and brain
yeah.
activities and whatever. So the fact that you could spend those and not fight, you know, but you need these for the fight, I'm just like, you want to mitigate all of those things at all costs.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just like, I mean, I understand, like, if you're a wrestler or a fighter, you know, if you go up a weight class, you're not going up just 10 pounds. You're going up by 20 or 30 pounds. So that's why everyone drops. I mean, I understand, like, let's just say you're like right now I'm like 140, like 145 right now. And it's just like, I've been eating real bad, you know what I mean? Because I have nothing coming up. So I've just been purging and being a fat ass. But it's like, if you're eating clean and you just lose some weight, that's okay. Like, you just basically lose just like water weight, you know what I mean? But then when you start like doing more than that, then that's kind of when I'm like, all right, bro, like, let's chill out a little bit. Like, I understand, like, maybe you lose 10 pounds just eating cleaner. Like, that's not really cutting weight. I just see that as like, okay, you're just like Vito Maximus said, just purifying yourself. And for me, that's part of the process for me. You know what I mean? Just like starting to eat cleaner and like sweating all that nasty shit out. But like, when you start trying to drop like more than that, like 30, 40 pounds, it's like, all right, bro, like, let's chill out a little bit. You're going to end up hurting yourself more than anything. And I feel like that all the organizations should do that, the hydration test, so they can make sure their fighters are not going in there like dying already. Like, I've seen some horrible like videos of people in the weigh-ins, even in the UFC. That one girl, she was on the scale shaking. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, she just couldn't even like walk. That's how bad her weight cut was. I don't like seeing that. Like, she's not going to go in there and perform. Look at her. She's already done. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I feel like they really should adopt that for everybody. But it seems like every major organization has something. Like, you know, the UFC has a name, and the Bellator has like the gloves, like you said, and then one championship has a hydration test. I feel like they should just all take from each other and just be cool. You know what I mean? But they're not going to do that. But, you know, that would make it a better sport.
Absolutely. You know, and I mean, you got the Professional Fighters League. You win the tournament, you get $1 million.
That's
you know,
that one's pretty cool. That one.
To me, yeah, it's all fucking good, because obviously, I mean, as we know it now, you know, you have, you know, the landscape. The UFC now, it was, you know, less than 30 years old, right? 94 to now, right? Less than 25 years old. And I don't think there's been a organization or a sport in my lifetime that has risen to literally to become a $2 million property that was going on the verge of bankruptcy to like what 5 years ago, it being a $3.8 billion property, and getting on ESPN and ESPN Plus and all of that jazz, but like that doesn't mean to say that like the UFC or Pride or whatever, are doing it any better than anything else. It's just like everybody's learning and everybody has a different way of doing things. And that's one of the reasons I miss going, to shows around here because, here we are Saturday. There'd be a fight Friday, fight Saturday, sometimes even a fight Sunday,
Yeah.
right? And you could go from like a Spar Star, right, at Commerce Casino and whatever, and then shoot down to Epic and their, nice ballrooms, and then go to like, Knockout Promotion, and it's like, almost a Rocky type dingy, like old school feel, and they're all great, but it's these promoters, these matchmakers, and everything. They have their vision of what this concept of MMA is supposed to look like, and everybody has their own version, and I think what we were doing, pre-COVID was essentially like a renaissance because you had, the fighters, they had their idea of what they were doing. The coaches had their idea of what their fighters were doing. The cut men had their idea of what's happening. The referees had their idea, and all of these people were coming together with their collective experiences and coming together to make this show, kind of work, right? So that's part of it. Is just figuring out what works. Some things are going to work, some things aren't going to work, and we're still kind of on this upward climb. You could go here in LA and we're close to what, 4 million people, and there, or might be even more than that, and there's people that still don't know UFC. They don't know what MMA is. So it's still on this upward climb.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like it's gotten. I mean, the whole reason why I started MMA was because I caught like when it started getting real popular. I didn't know what it was either. I mean, I wouldn't have started doing jiu-jitsu and stuff if I didn't hear about it. I mean, for me, it was Pride that got me into it. I love Pride. That Pride will always be my favorite. You know what I mean? I always thought it was cool to fight in Japan and stuff. And like, because I do jiu-jitsu, I think a lot of people would think, oh, like Hoist Gracie was one of my heroes. But the whole reason I started jiu-jitsu was because of Minotauro Nogueira. Him and the fight against Bob Sapp. When I saw that fight, I had to fight a jiu-jitsu gym after that. Like Minotauro Nogueira was always be one of my favorite fighters as well. Like I mean, like I said before, I used to get bullied a lot, and it was usually by people that were like bigger than me. And then like that fight was just a perfect example of just like, the technique, of jiu-jitsu overcoming the size difference and the power. Because, Bob Sapp is gigantic. His arms were bigger than fucking Nogueira's legs. You know what I mean? Like he was just fucking gigantic. And he was beating the shit out of Nogueira. That's the other thing. That was Bob Sapp's best fight, and he lost it. Like his best performance of his whole career was a fight that he lost. But yeah, and then and then Nogueira got that armbar, and I was just like, I gotta start doing this jiu-jitsu shit. That was awesome. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, Pride will always be my favorite. But yeah, shit. That's like a dream of mine one day to go out there and fight in Japan.
Yeah, man, dude. And most people forget, they might have seen him in, The Longest Yard or a couple of the movies that he was, into. And I mean, at what point, especially during the auspices of Pride, like Shane McMahon almost bought Pride, and they were talking about bringing Bob Sapp over, to the WWE, and but you forget like how big a star that he was in Japan. Like that, I think him and I think he has the record for the most like views in terms of like any sporting event in the history of Japan. Like everybody in the country were watching one. I can't remember what fight it was, but like he's like this like central figure in Japanese, like not just combat sports but culture.
I've seen all the commercials with him in it too. They're really weird, but like, I mean, they like him. I mean, like he's like a superstar out there. You know what I mean? And like people from around here probably won't know him. And it kind of sucks when the superstars start getting older and people start to forget about them. Like the other day, I was talking to someone about MMA, and they were saying that BJ Penn sucked. And I was like, yeah, you saw BJ Penn in his last 9 fights. You didn't see him in his prime when he was murdering everybody, and he was like the guy. You know what I mean? So like everything, things change and stuff, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Bob Sapp was like a superstar. I remember him being like super popular, and then now like nobody knows him. Well, at least around here, But yeah, it's just crazy how that happens. Like you see all the guys that you kind of like grew up watching and they were like the best, and then their time goes and it's new people. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. But yeah,
It's funny because like you can, if you throw in Bob Sapp's name to like eBay and shit like that, just to show you like the cross like reference of talent that this guy was. I mean, you've got like, I mean, I'm looking here. You've got like Bob Sapp action figures. You've got Bob Sapp clothes. You've got a Bob Sapp alarm clock. Like that was the shit that major people with money were fucking throwing into Bob Sapp.
that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't even know about any of that. I just remember him fighting Nogueira, and that was like the whole reason I started doing jiu-jitsu. So that for me was like the only reason why I do Bob Sapp. But then you look into it and you're just like, man, that guy really was like a superstar. You know what I mean? But yeah, shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I gotta ask, what were some of your influences as you were coming up through the ranks of jiu-jitsu and then later MMA? Like, what were some of the things that, or people or fights that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of I watched every UFC event since that fight. I watched since the Nogueira Bob Sapp fight. I basically watched every fight. Like I almost every single one. I paid for almost every freaking pay-per-view since then in the UFC. Like there's so many fights, but like that fight with Nogueira was really good, and then I really love Nogueira. But Nogueira also made me want to wrestle because I never wanted to get hit that much if I ever fought to actually submit a dude. I was like, yeah, I don't want to get my face punched in like that just to submit a guy. But then, like, yeah, I mean, for a while, I never really saw myself fighting MMA. I just did jiu-jitsu. And then, I didn't see myself competing in jiu-jitsu either. But then I started competing in jiu-jitsu, like, every weekend at one point. Like, every other weekend I was at a tournament. It was just crazy how many I was doing for a minute. And then I would see Anthony, like, at every single one, too. So it was just funny how that worked out. But, yeah, man, just, like, MMA, man, like, I don't know what really, like, got me into it. I just saw it as, like, okay, I've been training jiu-jitsu for a long time, and I want to see if it actually like works against other martial artists. Like I feel like MMA is like the ultimate martial art. You know what I mean? Like let's see if my jiu-jitsu actually is real and actually works in a real life situation. And I don't really feel like jiu-jitsu has kind of been, what's the word for it? Kind of been like I don't know. Like there's a lot of sports jiu-jitsu now, and I don't really consider that jiu-jitsu. Like if your jiu-jitsu only works if you're both wearing a gi and you're starting your knees, then that's not jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like. To me, that's not jiu-jitsu. Like, bro, if it doesn't work in a real situation, then why are you even doing it? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, I was doing it because I was getting bullied. So everything I was doing was basically just for like a street situation. And it was hard for at first because I was 13 years old, 90 pounds in the adult class. Some of those guys were literally double of me. You know what I mean? So it was really difficult at first. And like the first few years of it, I basically just got beat up all the time. And that was the only reason why I wanted to compete. It's like, oh, maybe I'll go get some of my size and actually work some offense for once. That'll be cool. But yeah, it was just like, yeah, man, like, it's just crazy how that stuff worked out. But yeah, I loved watching the fighting. I had so much respect for all the fighters, and I just wanted to see how it was. And then had my first fight. It didn't go my way, but it ended up, sparking what kind of made me keep fighting after that. And I've had 7 fights now. I'm planning to have more. I was trying to get one before, the Rona stuff happened, but then everything got shut down. And I even tried to compete in the jiu-jitsu tournament like last month. They said they were going to do it. And I guess Orange County's still already open. Like, I guess they don't really care anymore. And they had a tournament out there. And I signed up. I paid for it and everything. And then the week before, like, oh, it's not happening. So I was like, well, that sucks. But yeah, we'll see if I can compete sometimes this year, hopefully. But by how everything is going, I don't think anything's going to be open up till like next year, I think.
No, 100%. That's what it's looking like now. And even if you were to run a show, I'm hearing, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but like I heard a report of, $40,000 for a promoter to run COVID tests, right? And I don't know how many people that covers, right? But when you think about it, right? So you've got one fighter, two fighters for one fight, right? You've got 2 fighters. They each have 2 cornermen, right? 1 cut man each, or you have 1 cut man going, back and forth, which is nuts, right? Then the referee, 3 judges, right? And then whatever else needs to happen. So you've already in that scenario, for one fight to happen, you have to pay for almost a dozen COVID tests. right? And
Jeez.
does that mean that, oh, that $40,000 covers, 12 people? Like, how big is the card going to be? Blah, 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 right? But then that's in addition to having insurance for whatever venue that you do. That's in addition to whatever commission that you have to pay, whether it be here in California as an amateur, camo, or California State Athletic Commission for the pros, right? So you got to pay for that, whatever. So you might be out $150 to $200 on a conservative estimate and not have any way to have that back in, right? Because you might not have a TV deal. Most MMA or amateur promotions,
No, yeah.
so and that's the only reason why the only thing that you saw was a PBC boxing event in India, because again, that's boxing money. So you can fit the bill for that,
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, and that means for sure amateur fight organizations are not coming back anytime soon, because it's like they make their money through ticket sales usually. And if you can't sell tickets because there's no audience, then how are you supposed to do it? And I've heard a couple of people like trying to say like, oh, we'll like sell a stream or something. But then it's like, okay, you sell a stream and the whole person's family is only going to pay for one stream of it because they're all going to be in the same room watching it. So it's like, like a family of 10. They're not going to all pay for a separate stream. They're all going to watching the same TV. So there's always a way around it. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I just don't really see that working out. But yeah, only like the big organizations are coming back. Like LFA, I saw had one, and like, UFC, Bellator, the ones that can afford that. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
hopefully everything goes back to normal soon, so everyone can kind of go back to fighting and all that. Kind of sucks. Like, I mean, I've been training, but I have to do everything like low key, and like it's not like what it used to be. You know what I mean? Like I miss sparring at Fight Academy on Saturdays with all those people coming through. Like I haven't done that in a while. I haven't even been sparring as regularly as I used to. You know what I mean? Like, kind of feel like sometimes my skills are a little off sometimes, but we'll get back to it. But it just sucks, man. Like I kind of just want to go back to how it was, but we never know when that's gonna happen. So.
No, 100%, 100%. And Stephen Tatum asks, any good food that you can mention after a fight or a tournament? What's your go-to?
Oh man, well, at the IFS fight, the day I fought Eddie Esquivel, right after my fight, I really like Red Robin. I don't know why, I just really love that place. Like the unlimited fries and the unlimited root beer shakes. It's just funny, man. Like I don't drink either, so I'm not really into drinking, but I'm really into like, I have a sweet tooth when it comes to drinks. I love soda and shit, and like I love burgers and French fries. I can eat that shit all day. I mean, I know I shouldn't, but man, I love carbs, like potatoes and shit, French fries especially. But yeah, I remember that fight exactly. Like right after that fight, I dropped all that weight. I won. We went to Red Robin. And I just went ham. Like I think I had like 6 root beer floats that day, and like I had so many French fries. Like it was crazy. I went from weighing 128 at the weigh-ins to being like 152 when I got home. I was like, what the hell happened? Like, how did I gain all that weight? Like, it was crazy, man. Like, yeah, shit, that was probably like the best time I had after a fight. Yeah, shit.
Fuck, man. Well, I mean, it's bottomless fries for those that don't know, and you don't have a red.
Try it out. It's pretty great.
Yeah. And dude, my move, and that's why I gotta stay away from that fucking place, is my move is the fries with their honey mustard. I think they've got the best honey mustard. So that's literally the move. Like that's fucking A. But I can gain like probably about 12 pounds just like fucking walking out of there. I never feel great. I feel great going in, smelling the food and everything like that, and the fucking drinks with the fucking like the weird cups and shit like that. But going out, I feel like fucking Jabba the Hutt. It's not. It's
you
not
feel
good.
horrible out there. I mean, it feels good.
But
it feels good while you're eating it, but then afterwards, like I remember going into that place, I felt great. I just won my fight. You know what I mean? It was just like the feeling after the fight's over already. I mean, it feels better when you win, but even when you lose, it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about getting murdered anymore. You know what I mean? So it's just like, to me, it's like the greatest feeling in the world when the fight's finally over, all the training leading up to it, all the anticipation. But like, yeah, to me, I felt amazing walking into that Red Robin. But then after I left, I was like, oh my God, I feel horrible. Can't even move.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Mauricio Violeta Navarez sent to us both Mauricio, hope you and Vi are doing well. But he
That's my
said,
boy right
"What's up,
there.
Jesse?" Um, and then Stephen Tatum wants to know any future prediction, or do you feel once quarantine is finished, anything to look out for, or do you feel like this year will be a wash?
I mean, I just want to try to get a fight as soon as possible. I mean, whenever my coaches think I'm ready, I'll go back in there. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I kind of think this year is gonna be like nothing's gonna happen until next year. I feel like I hate to say it, and I really hope it doesn't happen, but I really feel like it's not gonna end until like next year. I mean, I know certain places are kind of open already, but California, especially next year's, I think is when I'm gonna start trying to like really get out there and compete and stuff. But I really do want to go out there and fight and compete again soon. So, shit.
Yeah, no, you got to keep the skills sharp for sure,
Yeah.
And as Stephen Tatum says, yeah, you can't pull a WWE fan virtual aspect. Did you see that the Thunderdome where they have like the virtual fans?
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, so basically what they've gotten, so they were doing up until this point, they were running their performance center out of Florida. Like I think it's like Winter Park, Florida, right? They have their developmental system and whatever, and they were running shows out of that facility. But for like SummerSlam last week, I think they introduced it last week, where they actually went to the Amway Center, the former home to like the Orlando Magic and whatever, or it might still be the home to Orlando Magic. And what they did was they put up screens all around the arena and basically had people just like this kind of watch the fucking show, which is, I mean, it was okay, but I mean, some people did some foul shit. They put like, Chris Jericho in Jay and Silent Bob. If you've seen Jay and Silent Bob the reboot, which shout out to that because I love Jay and Silent Bob. Fucking A. But if you see the reboot, one of the, I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but one of the first kind of scenes is Chris Jericho as the KKK leader, right? So
Oh my
somebody
god.
pulled that up on screen, and then another person put like a picture of Chris Benoit, which fucking A, that's like not cool. But somebody got screen grabs of it and posted it on Twitter, and it was a whole thing. So it's weird, but again, people are trying to figure out what the fuck is the next step. Like nobody really knows. And I mean, especially tonight, right? We had Ian Kutalaba.
Yeah. Test
Test
positive for
positive.
Corona right before
Yeah.
the fight. I feel bad for his opponent. Like, imagine I've never had a fighter pull out on me like right before. I've heard people like were like, I knew this one guy. I actually fought him, and he's a very intimidating looking dude. And I guess by the time he got to the cage, they were supposed to both to walk out to the cage, and he walks out to the cage, and his opponent doesn't want to fight anymore. Doesn't want to show up. So the guy ended up just not going out. He's like, yeah, I'm just not gonna go out. I don't want to fight no more. And like, I feel like he was just scared of the guy. I mean, he is a very intimidating looking dude, but like, it was just funny. Like, he was just telling me like, I basically won by like just fear, but he didn't get a win on his record though. He ended up walking to the cage. The guy didn't show up, and then it was just like, well, I guess you just get to go home now. You know what I mean? And then like for the UFC guy, like that rematch, I really wanted to see that because our first fight ended so dumb. And like, yeah, man, it just sucks, man. But like Corona, like, I mean, there's been a couple fights that already been cut off. Like I told you about the Bruce Leroy versus Giga. I really wanted to see that, but then that guy, Giga, ended up catching it and kicked him off. But yeah, man, Rona's kind of just been ruining everything right now. But what can you do, man? Like it's an epidemic, I guess. So. Shit.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, and that's the thing about it. I was talking off air to a couple of my friends, and they had asked me like how many COVID, situations have happened, since they've been running shows. And I was just like, when I thought about it, when you think about, it's not just the fighters, but like the cornermen or somebody involved with the fights, right? In the UFC fights. On average, I think it's been one per fight in terms of people that have tested positive for COVID, which is like fucking
it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still like that they're doing it, but they are taking a chance. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just crazy. I'm not sure about this Corona stuff. I mean, I know it's like an epidemic and stuff, but I'm not sure if it's really as big as a deal as everyone's saying. I haven't really heard about anyone dying from it, but I understand you don't want everyone to catch it, but at the same time, like, be safe and smart about it and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's just crazy, man. Like, nothing like this has ever happened before, so I don't really know what to say about it. It's just like, man, like, what do you even do?
No,
Like it's just crazy.
I agree, and I think it's about like it's becoming personal choice right now because obviously I I kind of follow under or at least have seen, on a I guess a um fuck, what's the word? Like a peripheral kind of way about it. Like I've seen people that have been healthy and unhealthy and caught it, been good. I've seen people healthy and unhealthy that got knocked the fuck out, right? For like really a month and never really recovered. And I know people that are healthy and unhealthy that have gotten it and died. All of it.
Shit.
Like the whole fucking gamut. And then obviously, you know, everybody has a reasoning why or why not it's happened and whatever. And yes, I don't think it's as bad as what we originally thought it was, but I mean, it is still something to be cautious of, right? But I also think that at least here in North America, I don't know, where everyone is viewing this, but here in North America, but specifically the United States, I think the financial windfall of everything kind of going down, like I took a drive, I was doing laundry and I took a drive both respectively downtown and then into Pasadena, and both places are fucking ghost town. And even if you do, open up your business or whatever, it's not like a lot of people are coming in and that you're making the amount of income to make it work for you to go in, and worth the sacrifice. So, I mean, everybody's hurting right now. Nobody really knows what the fuck to do and everything. But one thing that I would like to see less of is people shitting on each other for whatever they choose. Hey, go out, great. Don't shit on people that don't want to go out, and vice versa. Like, there's like a lot of infighting that's happening, and it's just like for anything to happen, the only way that we're gonna figure it out is if we work together. Doesn't matter what the fuck you believe, doesn't matter what the fuck you voted for, doesn't matter. Like we're all gonna have you have to have these conversations and they might be uncomfortable, but these are conversations that we're gonna have, and you can't call each other name, you can't go like that, give your false statement, or even like your way that may not be the truth, right? Just your way and how you feel, kind of factor in what you're supposed to do. So that's it. I hope people will have more empathy coming out of it, because I mean, 9/11 happened. We all kind of bundled up together until shit got real again. Desert Storm, same thing. Everybody bundled up together. So shit got real again. I mean, fucking Oklahoma City bombing. Everybody bundled together until they realized, hey, it was actually Americans that fucking did it.
Shit.
And then it was, so, but again, regardless of whatever, everyone is hurting. Doesn't matter, and I hope all of you guys that are watching this, I hope nothing but well for you. It doesn't matter, anything. I just want you guys to be well, and part of this podcast is just like checking in on friends, and I'm like, how are you? Just that,
Yeah, I mean, it's hurting everyone, and especially the economy. It's it's basically the killer of small businesses at this point. Like, I've heard of so many small businesses not there anymore. They're just gone. And even when it was just, like, when it first happened, it was supposed to just be a month. Like, some of them were gone already. And then, like, now it's gone on for so long. And then people are trying to find ways to kind of modify it so they can stay open. But, like, I feel like they kind of have to open up pretty soon, or everything's just going to be, gone. The only thing that's going to be left are, like, the super big businesses, you know what I mean? It's just a struggle, especially for like the publicly owned like martial arts businesses. I've already heard of a lot of the gyms that are not open anymore. It just sucks, man. I mean, I've got lucky and I'm still working, but I know a lot of people who lost their jobs and they're kind of just on unemployment and stuff. But what happens when that's over and you have to start looking for a job again? You know what I mean? It's going to be so competitive because everyone's going to be looking for a job. It's going to be crazy. Like, and I already have one, so I'm lucky. But like, I feel bad for all those people who are going to be looking for something after. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's been crazy. Like, I don't know, man. It's going to be hard for everyone for a minute.
No, I agree 100%. And and even if you wanted to go and get a gig, how many layoffs have happened? How many, whatever, where your job does not exist anymore, coming out of it, because, the company or whatever had to kind of, financial scale back, or, they're, rather than you coming to a physical location. Now it's online. And if your thing that you did, regardless if you have a degree or not, or certificate or not, or whatever, if you had to go to a place to do the thing, and now there's no place to go to,
Yeah.
I mean, shit out of luck, and I just, again, nothing but positivity to everyone here, and it's like we need to band together more so now than ever, doesn't matter how the election goes, doesn't matter whatever. All you can do is go to you and your community and see how you yourself can make your community better. I mean, I didn't mean for it to be a PSA, but I mean, literally, that's it,
I mean, yeah, the aftermath to the suck, and then I feel like people are more separate now than they ever been. Really, to tell the truth, it's just like it's just crazy with everything going on with the world. It's not even just about Corona anymore. For me, that's kind of like the least of my words. The state of the world's just been wild lately with just like everything, man. Just like the riots and like the racism, and you know what I mean. It's just like it just fucking sucks, man. I just can't understand how someone can be racist. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's wild. I actually had a situation the other day. I cut off this old white lady by accident. I wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone. It was accident. I was going straight and she was going left, and she came up to me and my window was down. And I went to say like, sorry, my bad. I wasn't paying attention. And then she told me to go fuck off, you beaner. And then like took a left. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I've had a couple situations like that, but it's just like crazy, like how that worked out. And I was just like, man, if you were a man, I would have followed you home and beat the shit out of you. But like, it was just like crazy. Like, I feel like the state of the world has been wild lately. And that kind of stuff has been happening to me more recently now than it has in the past. I feel like people are kind of just all like angry and like tensed up and like, yeah, man, I just don't understand how someone can just not like someone because, they're Hispanic or because they're black or because they're Asian. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, hate me because what I post on Facebook. I don't even like. I mean, I think that's dumb, but like, you know what I mean. It's better than not liking me because I'm Mexican or like Asian or anything. You know what I mean? I would that bothered me so bad. That actually happened on Tuesday, and I'm still bothered by it now. Like, it's still bothering me. It's like, why would you? You know what I mean? Like that shit was just, oh my god. It kind of like fucked me up for the rest of the day. I was like, man, I can't believe that happened to me right now. But what can you do? You know what I mean? I was just so angry the rest of the day. I was like, why would she say that? Like, I mean, I understand, like, you know what I mean? Like, I cut you off, but like, really, dude? Like, come on. That ain't right. You know it. You know what I mean? Like, what can you do? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's like, whether it be racism or like, the cop situation or whatever,
Yeah.
like everybody's hurting. Everybody's hurting, right? Or I mean, and that's just like the surface stuff. What if your family member, your loved one, got COVID and died, or now your financial aspect of it because COVID's here and you don't have a job, like all of that. There's like so many things that are coming out, and it's coming. And to me, I just think it's like things that we should have, as a society, figured out a long time ago, right? But the fact that we didn't, it's almost like the UFC, right? Or any small town, or your favorite band, right? Let's take the politics and everything, whatever, right? Like your band, right? Your favorite band, right? And you fucking watch him play at your cousin's quince or something like that, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm about that band, right? And then they fucking take their first tour across, America, blah blah blah, whatever, and you're like, yeah, still whatever. And then they get a record deal, and they're like, and then somebody else starts to like them, and then whatever, and then they're not your favorite band anymore, right? But the thing about it is, like, those people are kind of essentially the same, right? The fucking singer's the singer, whatever, and they're getting like, oh, that guy used to talk to me before, when he was playing in a garage, but now he's selling out arenas and shit like that, and he doesn't want to talk to me. Well, the thing about it is, there's things that have happened in their lives and yours. Maybe they had somebody screw them over financials, or like somebody that they were close to fuck them over, and that's why they're not close with you. Like, there's a lot of different ways of why people are the way they are. But again, all of this is happening, things that we, like the US, right? We're young, we're a baby in terms of a country. When you look at like Japan or the Polynesian Islands, or Israel and Palestine, all of this stuff, we're a baby, right? We're still on the pacifier, right? And we got too big for our own damn good, and nobody knew which way to kind of go about it. And all of these things again, a lot of the same things we thought we dealt with 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago, and it's rearing our ugly
They're
heads.
still
I mean,
here, yeah.
literally, I mean, you look at what the Civil War was about, and it looks like we're kind of here. Doesn't matter how many laptops, cell phones, whatever, whatever. Like we're here again.
Yeah,
You know?
it all just keeps coming back. It's like a big cycle thing. It's kind of like, man, like it's just crazy, man. The state of the world right now is kind of like my biggest worry of anything right now. Like I'm not. I mean, I want to fight again and stuff too, but like to me right now, I'm just like, man, what's gonna happen? I feel like a lot of crazy shit's been happening right now, especially like you mean like what you said earlier, cops, the racism, the pedo stuff. I've been hearing about that a lot recently, which is something I never thought was a thing. But like it was just like it's just crazy. I'm just like seeing all this shit, and it's just like all of people's reactions, and yeah, man, it's kind of scary sometimes. Like, man, I wonder what's gonna happen when this kind of all blows over, or whenever happens. It's just like shit, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I try not to think about that kind of stuff, but still, it kind of bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, man, like this is getting crazy sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, shit.
Yeah, but regardless of whatever, you gotta go like, and this is kind of where I've kind of reconciled because maybe I'm not adult enough to deal with any of the fucking shit that's going on, but maybe like, okay, what if whoever becomes president? What if all this shit is true? What if all of the cops want to shoot me or not shoot me? What about whatever? Okay, what does that do for me? Is that putting food in my mouth, keeping a roof over me and my family's head, keeping gas in the car, or whatever? And if it's not doing that, well, fuck, let me see which one of my friends or even people that aren't my friends that become my friends doing this. Let's see if they want to fucking do a podcast. Every time I fucking want to, chime in on somebody's social media debate, just go like, fuck it. You want to do a podcast? Let's do this shit. Talk about whatever the fuck. I don't give a damn. You talk about fights, we don't talk about fights. This fucking makes no thing, but I want to make sure you're okay. And I want people out there to know that us too are okay, and that's it, kind of check-ins.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. It's really cool what you're doing, man. I mean, I've been basically watching every single podcast. You know what I mean? Like I've watched every single one that you put up. So I like it, man. It's really cool. And it's like, and it's become so professional too, man. I like it, a little opening. That was pretty cool. Like, yeah, man, it's coming together, man. It looks really good.
I mean, it's something, and again, and that's kind of why like the Chadwick Boseman thing kind of hit me hard. It's just like, when you find the fucking thing, right, that you want to do in this life, right, and then you get this, something happen that you cannot prevent. Doesn't matter how much money you had, doesn't matter how many fucking red carpets that dude walked on, whatever, his fate was sealed, and what he chose rather than fucking, that dude is as much of a superhero in real life than the fucking Black Panther was,
sure.
I mean, just like to be in that fucking state and you're physically, you're fucked and you're rising to your greatest echelon in terms of your career. I'm like, fuck, man, like, what am I doing? And I'm just like, fucking block out the bad shit, do the good, and let's go from there, which, by the way, I mean, Lawrence Kim is going like, what's up, new master 69?
What's up, Lawrence?
And Violet, what's up, Vi? She says she's doing well. Glad to know that you and Mauricio are doing amazing. Michael Enriquez, what up, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
What's up, Jesse? Can't wait to see you fight, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And Lawrence Kim has said, go to Portland. Hit up Team Quest. Team's open. Yeah, Portland's got it. Yes, the Team Quest guys out in Temecula, they're doing shit every day. I don't think they've stopped.
I follow Trevor. I mean, we fought, so I know him pretty well. Like the dude, you know what I mean? So I've been following him, and I noticed that he's open. Him and Matt Padilla are like super cool, man. Like, yeah, man, they're really cool, dude. Me and Matt Padilla have a really similar sense of humor. I talk to that guy a lot, actually, just throwing memes. I mean, me and you have been memeing each other since the last interview, like nonstop. But yeah, like those guys are cool, man. I really like those dudes. He's probably like the coolest guy I've ever fought. No offense to everyone else I fought, but
yeah. Well, I actually learned from both you and Matt, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be. If you've ever seen Joe Dirt, right? That's that dude, the native dude, and he's like snakes and sparklers, right? And don't you got any whisker dudes and whatever the fuck and whatever, and he's like, no, that's all I like, right? So like memes and podcasts, that's my snakes and sparklers. That's all I fucking like doing right now. All the other shit is way too intense, and I see people like, oh, I'm deleting my Facebook, I'm deleting whatever. Like, I mean, if that's what you need to do, fucking do your shit, right? But like, there's a way, like, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So, I mean, here we have this thing that you could literally, fucking contact people on all sides of the world, right? And are you going to use that to fucking shit talk, or are you going to use that to fucking be who you want to be? Like, I'm a big fucking, like, not hater, but I've been pretty critical on ass selfie Instagram models and shit like that. Right? With, like, 180,000 followers and whatever, and all, it's the same picture under the same frosted light over and over and over. But I mean, if that's what they fucking wanted to do, right? And they, and they're making a living doing it, and they're, creating some sort of joy and happiness to some people's life, and at the very least, their own life, right? Their own life. Then fucking more power to them. Good job, right? And if I don't want it, fucking, I just won't follow that page, and that's cool. I make a big fucking, like, announcement or whatever. Like, the only announcements I'm making is the podcast that I'm doing. I mean, total disclosure, folks. And hey, and it's not just an MMA podcast, but fuck, if you guys want to speak peace, don't care. I love stories and storytelling. So if you want to tell stories, hit this guy up. Drop in your boy's inbox. Fuck, I'd love to have you on. I'm just saying.
Shit, I feel like more people follow me more for my memes than my actual fighting, to tell the truth. But for me,
Same.
For me, the memes are kind of even more kind of like a social thing too. Like, I'll post a shitload of memes, and then someone will laugh at it, and then I'll start talking to them, say like, "Oh, how's it going? How's training going?" I've trained with so many people I've met through my memes. I haven't even met them in person, and I met them just through my memes, and I ended up training with them. It's so many people. It's crazy that they laugh at my meme, and I start talking to them like, "Oh, how's everything going? How's training going?" It's kind of like a social experiment for me, almost, like, because I'm kind of like an introvert. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I have a real hard time talking to certain people. I mean, you're really cool, so I have an easy talking to you. But sometimes I really do have a hard time talking to people who don't do martial arts or are part of it. But like, yeah, man, for me, it's just like almost like a social experiment. Like, I'm like, "Oh, how's it doing?" And I've made so many friends through that. It's crazy. Like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, but I think more people follow me for my memes than anything else. I'm not gonna lie, but I haven't hit anything big yet in fighting, but hopefully I do soon. But yeah, man, I just feel like if you're trying to escape, I feel like everyone's trying to escape the 9 to 5, and if that's the way you're doing it, then fuck it. I'm trying to do it through fighting, and the Instagram models are trying to do it by posting butt selfies and shit.
Yeah,
but
hashtag butt selfie,
yeah,
like, whatever. But that's the thing. And at first I was just like, oh, these two are two separates and whatever. But I mean, he's a friend. But how the fuck do you think that the fucking Barnett interview happened, right? Like, I saw he fucking responded to a fucking meme I posted. I hit those fucking DMs like a motherfucker. Yo, Josh, want to do some shit?
It ended up working out. I mean, right? You got him on there. That was like your biggest podcast. So, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, so method to the madness, folks. I mean, if you fucking react to my memes, I'm gonna hit you up for a fucking podcast, man. Boom. That's it.
That's exactly.
So Everett wants to know. This is his tough question. What has been your toughest fight to date?
No offense to everyone else I fought, but it has to be Trevor Wells, man. That was like my biggest fight for me, and man, that was a real big step. Yeah, you were there, man. That was my biggest step up. I mean, shit, I had 4 fights. He had 15. He already had a title. He was ranked in the state already. I believe he was ranked in the nation. I'm not gonna lie, at the time, I was kind of like a nobody. You know what I mean? Like, I came from jiu-jitsu, but no one really knew me from MMA. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, man, it was just like, that was my biggest fight. That was like, for me, kind of like my coming out party thing kind of thing. I mean, it wasn't like the biggest deal ever, you know what I mean? It's an amateur show and all that. But for me, that was kind of like a big step up and showed me what I had to work on. And it showed me like I could compete with the best in MMA. And I mean, I'm not sure if Trevor's watching, but, appreciate it, man. Thank you. And shit, that was awesome. It was a great fight. And I feel like to today, that's still my favorite fight. I feel like I performed in that fight better. My best performance, again, was a loss. To me, that was my best performance. And I always respect everyone I fight. And you know what I mean? And I always appreciate Trevor for that. It was a real awesome experience.
No, 100%. I mean, luckily, I was fortunate enough to be there.
I met you there.
You could see the fucking, tide change, right? And there was a shit ton of people there for Trevor Wells, and you had a teammate also fight with
Yeah.
you, right? So you guys had whatever, but like you started to see the tide change, and you were fucking making doubters into believers, and most people thought that fucking Trevor was gonna roll right through you, and that shit didn't happen. It was a tougher fight, and that's the thing. So, and then you guys became friends after that, fucking you and Padilla made, and that's the
Yeah.
shit that I love. Like everybody just like my favorite part of every fight that I've ever watched, whether it be at home, at the arena, whatever the fuck, is after the fucking everything. The announcements are made and everything, and everybody's just fucking hugging. That's my fucking favorite part of every fight,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
with
the
like the whole COVID shit. I'm like, oh, nobody's gonna fucking dab and fucking hug anymore, and I was like, that sucks, but that's my favorite part because some of the coolest things happen, like opponents that are fighting end up fucking training together and cross training, and now the gyms have a partnership. They go there, da da da, and like it's fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah, man, it's just a respect thing. You know what I mean? Like I always try to show my respect, even when I beat the dudes. Like I know I don't like to over celebrate. I always make sure, like, hey, man, like you good? You know what I mean? Before I start celebrating, you know what I mean? But it's just like, yeah, man, it's just a respect thing. Like I respect everyone I fight. You know what I mean? Even if some of them don't really like me, you know what I mean? I'll still respect them either way. And it's just like, yeah, man, that's always a cool part about fighting. Like, I don't have to hate you to fight you. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's a martial arts competition. I don't know. I feel like some people, like there's mixed martial artists and there's fighters. There's cage fighters. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm more on the spectrum of a mixed martial artist. I mean, everyone has a little bit of both, but I feel like I'm more on the mixed martial artist side. There's some people who are a little more on the fighter side, but you know what I mean? But it's just like, that's just how it is, man. There's always respect, But yeah, man, like even there's a couple of people I didn't like going into the fight that I ended up liking after, which is funny. Like, actually my first fight, I mean, and the guy, Alexis Exerba, I did not like that dude when I first fought him. It was like, dude, he's a pretty, like, what's the word for it? Like, he's really gonna get at your head, man. He's real good at like mad dogging you. And then when I weighed in with him, we did our stare off. I was like, man, I don't like this dude. I did not like him at first. No, it was funny. He even posted our picture, and my dumbass being the nerd that I am, I came in with a Dragon Ball Z scouter. I'm not sure if you know what that means, but I was like reading his power level and stuff, and then he called me a nerd in his post. He's like, this nerd. And I was like, this guy's like, I'm gonna bully this nerd. And I reposted his picture. I even tagged him, and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna see if you can bully me, bro. And then like all my friends were just like talking shit to him. It was so funny. And then like we fought. He beat me. It was a great fight. It was awesome, and it was just like, I ended up becoming real good friends with him after, and I ended up finding out he actually likes Dragon Ball Z too. So I thought, like, why you call me a nerd about it if you also like it? Like, I just thought that shit was so funny. Like, you're an anime fan, and so am I. But like, I just thought that shit was so funny. Like, every year it comes up and he posts it, it still has that caption, and me and him were always just laughing about it. It's just like, dude, like, just so funny, man. Like, it was so funny. But yeah,
but when that fucking red light goes on,
it's all business. It's all business.
Yeah, it's all
basically.
business.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
man. Yeah, I like that dude. He's a real cool dude. But yeah, man, like it was my first fight and it was his third fight. So I can tell, like, I think he kind of knew, like, hey, I can get in his kid's head because he's never fought before. And it worked because the game plan to fight with him was to take him to the ground. And the first round, I came out swinging like a madman, like a dumbass. And like I ended up getting dropped that night. To this day, that's the hardest I've ever been hit in any of my fights. That kid hit me so hard, I forgot where I was. I remember I hit the ground and I was looking up and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I saw this dude like just angry, coming in with a fist, and it was Alexis, obviously. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And then like it all came back to me, and then my vision just like went completely black. And I was on the ground, I couldn't see nothing. Like I literally couldn't see. I was panicking so bad. And Alexis was just trying to like knock me out. And I was just like, dude, I can't see. What the hell's going on right now? And then like it all came back to me, and the tide turned. I ended up catching him in a triangle off my back. Then I almost caught him. It was just like a wild exchange. It's actually on YouTube if you guys want to see that. But it was just like a wild exchange on the ground, and like I ended up catching him in a triangle. But I'm not gonna lie, I was so shook from that punch, I couldn't finish it. I'm not gonna lie, I was so shook. I didn't even remember where I was till the round ended. And I went back to my corner, and I was just like, dude, like, what the hell is going on right now? Like, am I fighting this dude? Why is he hitting me? Like, I was just like, why is this fucking guy hitting me? Like, what the hell's going on? And like, it was crazy. Like, I actually didn't have a concussion. I checked, but like, I felt like I kind of did, though. I'm not gonna lie, because I literally did not know where I was for like a whole 2 minutes. Like, I completely forgot where I was. This shit was crazy. Like, it was the very first punch he threw, just basically knocked me out. Like, I had no idea what the hell was going on. Then the next two rounds happened, and he's a great coach too. Because I remember I pulled guard in that second round. I was in his coach's corner, Matthew Spencer, and like he knew everything I was gonna do before I was gonna do it. I was like, "Oh, you son of a bitch, you're a jiu-jitsu guy, huh?" So I kept trying to get him in a triangle again, and like it wasn't working because he knew. And his coach, like, man, he was like a step ahead of me the whole time. He's like, "Hey, don't let him do that. Don't let him grab your arm." And I was just like, "Man, he's a good coach because he knows exactly what I'm trying to do." But yeah, it was a good first experience. But yeah, man, that I don't even remember the first round of the fight. To tell the truth, like I rewatched it the other day. And there's parts of that fight I don't even remember happening. Like, I don't even remember, like, that fight happened. That whole first round completely blanked to me. I had to watch it again. Like, I remember, like, getting dropped. And then I guess I got back up. And then I pulled him back to guard again and threw another triangle. But I don't remember any of that. It was crazy. It was kind of like I was like an autopilot almost. I was like, man, like, I don't even remember any of that shit happening. So, it's, like, the shit was just crazy. Like, I was like, man, I really got hit hard that night.
Wow. Yeah, shout out to the Young Assassin because I mean, another one of the fun fights. Like I almost forgot about that shit. Holy fuck, man!
Yeah, man, that was my first fight. I've had and then he ended up fighting Trevor after I fought Trevor too. So it was like I kind of had a good fight with all those dudes.
Jesus Christ! Now, I mean, your IFS title win, man. We got to talk about that because I mean that's the same title that Ben Jones, the Badger, head coach of the CSW, that is a title that is essentially at the Yard Muay Thai in the trophy case, right? That is a Yard. I mean, that's a title that was held by none other than Tyrion Flash Ware. So, I mean, that's a special fucking title around the scene. So, talk to me about that title fight. Obviously, you were coming in, off of a couple losses, and you had that title fight and win. Like, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, man. I mean, I came off a loss to Angel Diaz before. That was the first fight I lost. Angel Diaz has had real experience. That was the first time I fought a grappler I felt like was at least close to like my level. He's really good at jiu-jitsu, and I've always used that. Like, okay, I'm better at jiu-jitsu than these guys. I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but when it comes to camo, I think I can truthfully say I'm one of the better jiu-jitsu guys in camo. Like, if not the best guy. I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I've been doing it a long time. Not that I'm better, I just have more experience than some of these guys in jiu-jitsu. But like, that was the first time I fought someone I felt like who was actually really solid on the ground. And I found out that was the fight I found out like, hey, I can't keep relying on that only because then I'm going to just keep getting beat up. Everyone knows what I'm going to do. And then I fought Trevor after that, and I ended up getting TKO'd in that one. And then I had to take that break from getting knocked out for a while. And then my very next fight was for the IFS. And actually, I got the title shot. Technically, I came off a win in Muay Thai.
Okay.
But yeah, I fought this guy. You know him pretty well. I went against Mark Pacquiao.
Yeah.
In a Muay Thai match. Yeah. And then I ended up getting the win over him. Tough fight. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, like, yeah, that's a little weird story with me and Mark Pacquiao, though, man. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, shit. He went around telling everyone he beat me, but in reality, I actually won that fight. So I don't know where he got that from. I actually saw an interview with him the other day saying that he was talking about how you lit me up in a Muay Thai fight. But, like, I won that fight, so I don't know how you lit me up if I won. You know what I mean? I mean, not gonna lie, first round, he was beating my ass pretty good. I'll give him that. He's a great fighter and all that. But, like, yeah, man, I thought that was really weird how I actually just saw that recently of him saying that he lit me up. But, hey, Mark, I won that fight, so I don't know what you're talking about. But other than that, let's go off that a little bit. But that was just crazy to me. But then after that Muay Thai fight, the IFS, Master Sean Salati and Gloria heard about it. And they're like, yeah, we heard that you won your Muay Thai fight. I've always supported them. I share all their stuff on Facebook and Instagram. And like they were like, yeah, man, we really appreciate all that. And we saw that you won your last fight. So we want to give you a title shot against Arturo Guevara for the IFS MMA title. I believe it was their first IFS MMA fight title. So it was, yeah, man, I believe he was undefeated going into that. I think he was 3-0. He was ranked in the state. I think he was like number 12. And I was coming off 2 losses. I was like 2-3 at the time. So I was just like, man, like this is the other like really hard fight. I mean, I've never had an easy fight. My last 4 fights have all been against guys ranked in the state. The last 3 of them have been all title fights. And that was a real hard fight for me. And I'm not going to lie, after coming off 2 losses, I wasn't even sure if I kind of like deserved it. But you know what I mean? I went out there and, yeah, man, it was a good matchup for me, though. I felt like, because Arturo is a really good boxer. I felt like I was a lot better at grappling than he was. And that's basically how I won the fight. I just out-wrestled him, got him to the ground, and I caught him in an armbar. And that was how I won the title. I caught him in the yeah. There's a respect to the 202, but yeah, man, it was a great fight, man, and yeah, man, that was like the biggest win I've ever had, and I ended up losing the title in my very next fight, but man, like that was a real good one. That was a real good one for me, and then yeah, man, it was just a amazing experience, man. Not many people can say they won an MMA belt, so that for me that was just a real big deal, and like I wasn't even like I went from not even wanting to fight to have an MMA belt, you know what I mean? So it was like it was a pretty cool experience, man, and like yeah, man, the two was tough too, man. I caught him in an armbar, I felt everything in his arm just popping. And I was like, man, this kid really doesn't want to tap. And I destroyed his arm. I felt kind of bad about it after because he was pretty fucked up after. His arm was all wrapped up and shit. But hey, man, it's for a belt, so I guess he just didn't want to tap. But yeah, man, that was like, yeah, dude, that was awesome. Took him down, got the mount armbar, and yeah, man, that was pretty bad armbar. I just remember hearing everything just going like pop, pop, pop. I was like, man, he doesn't want to tap. And then the referee just stopped it after that. So it was pretty awesome, man.
You know? But did you get to keep the belt?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have it in my room right here.
Fuck yeah. Hey.
Have all my trophies and stuff over there too and shit. Had like a billion freaking jiu-jitsu medals over there too.
I mean, shit. I mean, if it's not about, and that's what I mean. Maybe it's just me being like a fucking pro wrestling fan and shit like that. But I love belts. Like even fucking like I want to compete at Naga. I want to compete at Naga because like they fucking dole out belts, you know. And when I told Blake Troop that, right, Bulletproof Troop, that he was just like, "Here, take this, and then when you fucking win your own, give me that one back to me." So, and then I was about to fucking start training, and then fuck, like literally, like everything shut down, you know. But like again, you know, if you got a fucking belt, like that's fucking pretty badass, you know.
I've tried for a couple of those Naga belts. Never could actually win that one, but yeah, man, they're pretty cool, man. They give you like a belt and a sword. Like I always thought that was pretty cool. I'm not sure if they still do the sword. Do they? I don't know.
Yeah, for the lower, like the lower belt divisions, because I think you have to be a purple. Yeah, I think you have to be at least a purple to get a belt.
Okay, shit, yeah, man. Yeah, some of those are pretty. Some of those tournaments, man, you get some really good people in those because it's like I think they fuse a lot of the belts together too. I think it's like blue to purple and like brown to black. It's crazy.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, just I guess selfishly, I can't wait for shit to get back so I can get a belt.
Get some training in, bro. Get you ready for it. Make sure you can
because I know Bulletproof Troop probably wants his back, so I gotta get that shit back to him. But the only way that I can get it back to him is if I win one of my own. So there's that, you know.
Shit. Yeah, man, for sure.
Now, dude, there's been so many people that have fucking like been along with you in your journey and whatever, you know. So let's get some shout outs out of the way. Like, who are the important people that have like helped you get to where you are?
Yeah, man. Let me just go ahead and give a shout out to everyone at Fight Academy, all my coaches, Savant, Heinrich, Coach Akko, Coach Jason Perry, and all that, and all my teammates on here watching. You know what I mean? Mauricio, V, Mike. I know Kat's probably watching too, and my boy Javier and Chris, they're up and coming fighters too. I think Javier was supposed to fight pretty soon too, but then, you know, Rona happened. And then my boy Chris already had a fight too. So, yeah, man, it's been really good over there, man. Everyone's been real cool. And, yeah, man, I've been learning a lot. It's cool, man. Like, I've been training with some of the best people so I can get to that level. And it's been really great, man. So, hopefully we can get back in there soon and I can, you know, represent those guys well.
Yeah, man, and I mean, theoretically speaking, like I mean, even though it's like 2 years removed, probably even 3, possibly 4 years, but we're kind of teammates because the last gym that I trained at was Fight Academy, and Lawrence Kim goes like,
my boy Lawrence too.
You know what? I'm gonna take that too, Lawrence. Love you too, my man. But yeah, dude. So I can't wait till we get all of this stuff in order, but obviously safety first, but I can't wait till we get back to whatever the fuck we're about to get back into.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, hopefully it's sooner rather than later, man. I'm really hoping that's how it is.
Yeah, and then here's a request. So anybody, upcoming fighters that you've got, send them over to me for exclusives. I like that idea. Let's go with that. Fuck yeah. Anybody want? Come on, slide into those DMs. I won't bite.
Sure, for sure.
Now for everything that is Jesse Velazquez, for all the memes, all the fight stuff, everything. Where can people find you on social media, my man?
Yeah, man. On Facebook, just Jesse Velazquez. I have an athletes page too, Jesse Matsumi Velazquez. Instagram's Midori MMA. I mean, you guys can tell I like anime, and that's main character's anime name. But yeah, man. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have a Twitter too, but I don't really use it, so I wouldn't follow that. But yeah, just my Facebook and my Instagram, basically. Yeah.
I'm gonna follow you on Twitter just for the fuck of it. You're gonna be forced. Somebody did that to me, right? And then that fucking happened, and then I had Barnett retweet a couple things, and I was like, oh, I think I have to be on here now. So shit. I'm gonna retweet all of your shit just so you're on there.
I don't even think I have any posts on there. Like, that's how little I use it. But shit. That's
then funny. I'll repost your fucking egg profile pic. There you go.
Shit. Yeah, man. It's a lot of people have helped me throughout the way, so I appreciate them, including you. Thank you for letting me onto this podcast, man. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, shit. You're like my big brother now, man. I talk to you every day and shit. So.
Yeah, dude. We're family. Like, I love you, kid. Like, I've been able to see you. Man. I mean, literally from almost the start of your MMA career, and like now we're here. So man, if anything, I'm hopefully building the table for your success. So there's that.
For sure, man. Appreciate it, man.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to this episode of According to Woods with Jesse Velazquez. And if you haven't done so already, think about hitting that like or subscribe video. I'd appreciate it. That'd be cool, right? They should subscribe, right, Jess?
That's right. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow According to Woods.
Damn right, dude. Well, thank you so much. Like, have a great day. There's a awesome fucking car right now, so let's get to it. But this has been According to Woods with Jesse Velazquez, and we are out.
Peace out.